From the broadcast center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Hello everyone, this is 1680 The Crow. I'm Sean Park and this is your 10 o'clock news update. Vancouver Fire Rescue Services Public Information Officer Matt Trudeau says they heard reports of fire alarm activating near West Pender Street and Richard Street around 6:45 a.m. Trudeau says 14 fire vehicles were on the scene and had the fire under control. He says no injuries have been reported as a result of the fire. The fire caused emergency workers to close down West Pender Street and Hamilton Street. The streets have just opened up over the past hour or so. Ozempic is a type of drug that is used to treat diabetes, but there is an ongoing shortage. Part of that shortage has been driven by the weight loss side effect of injecting the drug. Health Canada says it is their top priority to address the shortage. Our producer Kevin has more updates about the Ozempic shortage and stories of the day.
Thanks, Sean. Novo Nordisk is the company that makes Ozempic, and they told Health Canada that the shortages will last at least until spring of next year. Some of the stories our newsroom is chasing today includes a housing update on the downtown east side, the live demonstration taking place in downtown Vancouver, and an update on the BCIT Students Association regarding tuition prices. Back to you, Sean.
Advocates are gathering at Vancouver City Hall this morning to share concerns over a budget increase for the RCMP. Our reporter Abby Francis has the story.
Advocates have been posting on Instagram calls to action to show up at the Vancouver City Council meeting happening this morning. The Sage Sisters Instagram page asks folks to request to speak at the council meeting and voice against the proposed budget increase tabled for the Vancouver Police Department. The budget funding for the VPD would increase by $2.47 million for fringe benefits, including the Canadian Pension Plan, WorkSafe BC Insurance, and EI. Another $2.53 million increase is proposed for the Vancouver Fire and Rescue Services as well. Abby Francis, 1680 The Crow.
The Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure has said that the next phase of expanding Highway 1 between 264th Street and Mount Lehman Road is on its way. The province has approved a budget of $2.34 billion to widen this highway. They plan to include a new interchange at 264th Street. The BC government says more than 80,000 drivers use this highway between Langley and Abbotsford and through the Sumas Prairie into Chilliwack every day. The British Columbian government says the Anti-Hate Community Support Fund grant applications are now open. They say the funds will be provided to religious and cultural centers and other at-risk groups such as 2SL LGBTQ+ organizations. These fundings could be used to remove graffitis and repair damaged properties as a community effort to respond to hate-motivated crimes. The province says up to $500,000 will be available through the Anti-Hate Community Fund. They also say the applicants can receive up to $10,000 per grant up to 3 other sites. The applications are open from today until next March 31st, or when all the funds are given out. Moving on to international news, after 17 days, rescuers have saved all 41 construction workers trapped in a collapsed tunnel under the Himalayas. The Associated Press reporter Karen Chamas explains more in detail.
Cheers and jubilation erupted as rescuers successfully managed to get to the weary workers. One by one, the trapped men were pulled out through a passageway made of welded pipes, which rescuers had previously pushed through dirt and rocks. The workers will each go through an initial health checkup at a temporary medical camp set up inside the 42 feet wide tunnel. I'm Karen Chamas.
Looking at the weather now, the fog advisory is back from yesterday, and the fog will clear up around near noon again, similar to yesterday. Today will be a high of 6 and a low of 1. And the air quality right now is at 1. The UV index is also very low, which is ideal for outdoor activities. There may be a chance of rain this Thursday through next Monday. Tomorrow is looking like a mix of both sunny and cloudy, with temperatures expected to be a high of 6 and a low of 1. And that's it for the 10 o'clock news update. I'm Sean Park, and this is 1680 The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Hello and welcome to For the Record. I'm Caitlin No, and on today's episode, we're talking about the Steveston Santa Claus Parade. It's coming back this Christmas Eve after a 4-year pause. This Christmas tradition has been happening for 45 years in Steveston, and because it happens within the community, it's an event that is significant for many that grew up in the area. But especially for Alex Sagert, who loved the parade so much that he kept the tradition alive during the pandemic. He collected donations for food banks while sharing Christmas cheer by driving his truck with Christmas decorations along the parade route. And this year, he is one of the lead organizers for the parade.
Just to have a good holiday experience, just something free for the whole family can enjoy. There's no prerequisites or anything. We obviously encourage people, if they can, to donate non-perishable food or monetary money towards the food bank, but that's definitely not required. We just want everybody to come out and be a part of the fun.
That was Alex Sagert, and I also talked to him about why he decided to continue the tradition in the pandemic and what the parade will look like this year. Hi Alex, thanks for joining us today. So during the pandemic, while the event was on pause, you drove your truck and a trailer along the parade route with Santa decorations. So I'm just wondering what made you decide to do this?
So I grew up in Steveston, like right on the original parade route. So we were, ever since like I remember like 5 years old, I remember there was always a parade, came right by our house with Santa Claus, and they collected for the food bank. So it's always been like a part of our Christmas. So once the pandemic hit and I reached out to them just to like give them a hand, because I own a small little company called Steveston Sound and Stage where we do sound and lighting and stuff. So I just wanted to get in the community and be a part of sort of thing and volunteer our time. But they unfortunately, when the pandemic, with all the restrictions and all that, they had to cancel it, obviously, just due to the regulations and all that. But I thought, why not just get a little truck and trailer and throw some of my sound equipment. I bought one of those 14-foot Christmas Santa train blow-up things and put that on and just put a bunch of Christmas lights and just drove around. Ended up collecting a couple 100 pounds of non-perishable food, a couple $100 for the food bank. So, yeah, that's just where it started, and I just kept it going for those couple of years when COVID was still touch and go.
And what were some of the reactions you saw from people in the neighborhood as you drove your truck around?
Oh, people loved it. It was, I even actually drove by the house of the original family that created the parade back in, I think, 1978-ish. And yeah, they were getting elderly, but they just couldn't believe it. Some of them were in tears. Like, they're just happy that the parade was going, and it's just to keep the sense of community going, really.
And personally for you, how did you feel as you were driving around?
Oh, I had a great time. I love doing stuff like this, so anytime we have a chance to give back to the community, definitely a great time.
So I guess you kind of kept this Christmas tradition alive during the pandemic, and as you said, it seems like a lot of people enjoyed that. So how is the Steveston Santa Parade coming back this year going to be different from previous years?
Well, I think it'll be great to have like all the families that know about it be involved, and then maybe all the people that have moved in the neighborhood during those couple of years are going to see everybody out on the street around 6 o'clock and be like, so what's sort of going on here? And then maybe come out, bring coffee, have a nice holiday drink or something, and enjoy the festivities.
And do you hope to keep being involved and being the organizer for the parade in years to come as well?
For me, yeah, no, I definitely want to be. As long as I live in the area and live in Richmond, definitely. Like, my parents still live in Steveston. I live in Steveston. A lot of people I know still live in Steveston, so it's definitely something I want to keep going as long as I can.
And have you gotten any additional support from community members, like in terms of funding or donations this year?
So I'm not the only one who puts this on. It's the Richmond Firefighters Charitable Society was the group that always did it. So I just sort of stepped in to lend a hand, and I ended up taking a bigger role this year just to keep it going. And yeah, so no, without the help of Richmond Firefighters Charitable Society, this definitely wouldn't be happening. We also have Johnny's Towing is going to be involved this year. He's going to be going to have the Santa sleigh on the back of one of his tow trucks. So we got that. We're going to have a few fire trucks. So just a lot of fun stuff like that. And yeah, we're definitely inviting the community, if they want to be involved, to definitely get a hold of us.
And for people going to see the parade this year, what do you hope for them to feel or to get out of the experience?
Just to have a good holiday experience, just something free for the whole family can enjoy. There's no prerequisites or anything. We obviously encourage people, if they can, to donate non-perishable food or monetary money towards the food bank, but that's definitely not required. We just want everybody to come out and be a part of the fun.
And for people who just moved into the neighborhood, or maybe those who are planning to go see the parade who are from outside of Steveston, could you just describe the route of the parade?
So the route of the parade is like right adjacent to Steveston Village, so it's in the neighborhood of where of the actual the businesses are. So we just have a route that you can find online. We start at 4th Avenue and Regent Street and wind our way through towards the village sort of thing, and end up at finishing over off at Gary Boyd Park.
And will you be dressing up as Santa for this year's parade, since it is the first time it's happening after a long pause?
I probably won't be, because I'll be doing some other stuff with the logistics of the parade, but we are definitely hoping to have a Santa Claus and a Mrs. Claus in the parade. Yes.
That's great. I really hope that it will be a success this year and that you guys will have a good turnout. Lastly, is there anything else you would want to say about your experience in keeping the parade alive during the pandemic, or what you hope for this year's parade to be like?
Well, with the pandemic, it was just me and myself, and actually last year we had one of my other neighbors joined in. So it's definitely going to be different this year. There's definitely more of a parade atmosphere, I guess you'd say. It's not a long parade, but we have lots of really good Christmas music going on, and lots of fun stuff like that. We are looking for volunteers still, so if anyone is looking to volunteer, all our contacts is on our Facebook, the Steveston Santa Claus Parade. But yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a good time.
Okay, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of For the Record. I'm Caitlin O, and stay tuned for more episodes produced by our BCIT students on 1680 The Crow.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to your 10:30 news update. I'm Nathan Maley. West Pender Street had to be shut down this morning due to a fire. Vancouver's Fire and Rescue Services received reports around 6:45 this morning for a fire alarm activation. When crews arrived at the building, a fire was found inside one of the units and more units were dispatched. No injuries have been reported from the incident so far. West Pender was shut down between Hamilton and Howe Streets to allow units to take care of the fire. The street was deemed safe to reopen around 8:30 this morning. Advocates are gathering at Vancouver City Hall this morning to share concerns over a budget increase for the RCMP. Our reporter Abby Francis has the story.
Advocates have been posting on Instagram calls to action to show up at the Vancouver City Council meeting happening this morning. The Sage Sisters Instagram page asks folks to request to speak at the council meeting and voice against the proposed budget increase tabled for the Vancouver Police Department. The budget funding for the VPD would increase by $2.47 million for fringe benefits, including the Canadian Pension Plan, WorkSafe BC Insurance, and EI. Another $2.53 million increase is proposed for the Vancouver Fire and Rescue Services as well. Abby Francis, 1680 The Crow.
Speaking of City Hall, members attending public city council meetings in Vancouver will have to go through an enhanced security screening process. The city says they are changing it due to the evolving security environment and following other Canadian cities' footsteps. City Hall is remaining open and accessible to everyone, and they hope to create a safer place with the new measures. No further details are being provided about the nature of possible security concerns at this time. People living without homes in the downtown east side may have some luck in the future. Our reporter Philip Kovacevic has the story.
Vancouver City Councillor Rebecca Bly proposed a plan called Uplifting the Downtown East Side and Building Inclusive Communities that Work for All Residents, that wants to create more affordable housing in the downtown East Side Oppenheimer development area. The motion also wishes to replace all single-room occupancy buildings in Vancouver. From the motion, it was found in January 2023 there are 146 open SRO buildings with 6,500 units. If the plan goes through, the findings by city staff will arrive late next year. Philip Kovacevic, 1680 The Crow.
Vancouver MP Ken Hardy has come under fire over a fatal shooting in Winnipeg. The Liberal Party member linked Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre to the shooting, which has many people in outrage. Hardy says he will stand by the tweet no matter what.
No, I stand by the tweet. I think that there are things we do need to talk about, particularly the attitude and behavior of the leader of the Conservative Party.
Hardy believes the Conservatives are creating an environment where people feel hopeless. BC Attorney General Nikki Sharma says the province is taking the next step in its plan to take down online sextortion. Sharma says the province intends to launch an online platform in January that will allow people to report if intimate messages of themselves are being distributed without their consent. The news comes following yesterday's news of a 12-year-old boy in Prince George who died via suicide after being the victim of an online sextortion scheme. Sharma offered her condolences to the family and called the death quote-unquote terrible. Fog can make it hard for air pilots to land at YVR Airport. However, the airport have the technology in place to allow planes to land safely, as Jerison Orshon explains.
YVR Airport this morning had many flights, especially arriving flights, delayed due to the fog which has been ongoing in the past week. This can be hazardous for these flights, as Environment Canada meteorologist Derek Lee explains.
Sometimes fog can not lift and kind of persist throughout the day, so we can be in the foggy conditions throughout the whole day without it improving at all.
Even with low visibility in the skies, the airport's instrument landing systems advises air pilots in case fog is around the airport. In a statement, YVR's senior communications specialist Shruti Ashok says that passengers are advised to check with their airline for latest flight status and information, and also ask staff and Green Coat volunteers at the airport if they need assistance. Jerison Rashon, 1680 The Crow.
Speaking of the fog, it remains prevalent this morning, and another fog advisory is in place today. It is expected to clear around midday today and has a chance of returning once again tonight. It is currently 3 degrees, and we are expected to see some sun when the fog clears with a high of 6 degrees. That's all for your 10:30 news update. I'm Nathan Maley, and I'll see you again at 12.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. but it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Siggi-Kane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
We respectfully acknowledge that we are situated on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, including Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations.
All right.
Get ready, on your toes.
Growing up, like native tournaments was like a big thing for my parents, and they're the ones that showed me how to play soccer.
As much as Penelope Sparrow is on track to reaching new levels of professional soccer, She does not forget where it all came from.
And they'd bring me around until it got to a point where I was 4 years old and we put on a pair of cleats and started playing. And I'd be there right beside, learning with them. And that's kind of where I started. And then it just kept going on. I got put in a couple leagues growing up, and I just grew to love it. I was about 13, and that's when I knew I truly loved the sport. Like, it was more than just kicking the ball, like you said. It was more of like a family, us together.
So to welcome you to our territory, which is known as UBC, which is known as Vancouver.
For Thompson Nelson, it's important for him to reflect on his roots while mentoring the next generation of Indigenous athletes.
It was just built into our family. And so from the time I could walk, my dad was throwing a soccer ball at me and just go out and have fun. And he was a traveling kind of traditional artist, merchant salesman, so we'd go to all the soccer tournaments across Vancouver Island, as well as over here on the mainland in the Indigenous circuit. So I just grew up around watching it, playing it, and just watching every aspect of it. And so I really fell in love with it, and every morning I'd go and just watch with him.
Both Thompson and Penelope are currently working with Hope and Health, coaching the younger generation at the UBC Thunderbird Stadium.
Hope and Health is a sport for social impact organization that works specifically with Indigenous children and youth and their communities to develop life and leadership skills. It's about creating a program that's accessible within Indigenous communities. As a result of colonization, programs haven't been accessible, nor have they been created that are culturally safe for Indigenous children and youth. So we wanted to close that gap. We really have been working on creating the pathway from those young, talented athletes that aspire to go pro or play to an elite level as high as they can go. When we had the opportunity to consider to take ownership over the League One BC Varsity FC team, it just made total sense that that would allow us to create that piece, which is the semi-professional, high-performance level, so then we can work with our communities as young as 3, 5 as little champions, all the way through their journey to Natsama FC.
Varsity FC was run by UBC Athletics, but Hope and Health purchased the rights and has rebranded as Natsama FC. Perhaps due to a lack of representation, many Indigenous athletes struggle on their journeys, often giving up.
So we're on the Musqueam field, where I grew up to love soccer. I always feel safe here, comfortable. I know when I've had a long day or a hard day, I try to do other things like art, track, all the other sports, but soccer was always something that I couldn't live without. When they think of soccer, they don't think of us, and obviously that's very hard because growing up, that was my FIFA. Going to tournaments, watching it, it was my FIFA. Like, that was my World Cups. Watching them play, it was like other players I couldn't see in TV. And the kind of passion and like support we have, it should be noticed. You don't see any native players, obviously. And it was just a battle. It's just like, am I trying, like, am I doing enough? Am I gonna achieve anything? Like, I didn't see anybody like me. So it was obviously really tough. It's just like, am I there for nothing? Am I doing this all for nothing? Like, there's nobody, I had nobody to like look up to.
One significant kind of moment for me was in high school. I was about 14, and I wasn't, like I said, I was a late bloomer. I was a bit out of shape, I guess, plumper than some of the other boys. And we had these fitness tests to introduce us into the high performance leagues, like for example, like Natsama and like UVic, Union Upton University. And I failed this fitness test. I guess not failed, but I just didn't do well. So that was really significant for me because I was bullied for that, and it felt pretty bad. So then I did that for a year, and then I came back the next year and nobody recognized me. I slimmed out, I got better. People thought I was an exchange student until I said my name. And then I came back and did that same fitness test, and I was in the top 2. I got like level 12 or something. But I think one of the lowest points, it's not a low point, but something you just kind of live with was, like I said, my dad passed away when I was 7. And then he was one of my biggest role models. And I'm thankful for my uncle taking over and like raising me as one of his own too. But like not having that male figure to really be like, good job, son, or like, you know, like, saying like, good job, son, or like everybody had their dads there. And me, after I finished a game, I'd just look into the stands and sometimes I'd have family, sometimes I wouldn't, and then it'd be like kind of like a little, you sit in the change room, you give yourself like a little self vibe, or like, and sometimes it's just nice to have that outer, I don't know, just a little nudge like, hey, you're doing well, just you're on the right path kind of thing. Because sometimes you just don't know, you get lost along the way, and sometimes you need that little push. But I'm grateful for everybody in my life and who have brought me and raised me to bring me to this opportunity. But in essence of barriers, like there definitely is barriers out there. And it can be a struggle, but you just gotta be proud, like don't fall into negativity. Like if somebody has something bad to say about you, just brush it off and just keep moving forward in a positive way. Because as an Indigenous youth, like we're representing our community, not just ourselves. Like it takes a village to raise a child. Like for me as an example, I had uncles, aunties, coaches, a plethora of people that like help support me. And it really shows like growth and development. And you're just there to represent your people to the best of your abilities and just make whoever proud and yourself proud, more importantly, and then just walk in a good way.
I was sitting in bed, not doing nothing, and then I got the call from Jesse. I was just amazed. It felt like my dreams were coming true. My journey was it felt like it was just a fresh start. Like, I was excited. I couldn't even think. I was speechless. When I was talking to him, I didn't even know what I said. I blacked out. Like, it was just, I was like, oh my God. Like, I already know what this is gonna bring, and I'm so excited. Like, I can't even express the emotions.
And when I found out, I was like, okay, this is something cool. This is a big step. Like, let's just go and take the plunge, see what happens. So I came here, and the group was very welcoming, and it was just nice to be in just such a high level. And right away, you could notice the jump. It was faster, people were smarter, the play was just intense. But I loved every minute of it, and I loved seeing if I can rise to the challenge. Oh, what a finish, all right. And when I got that call to come back for more tryouts, and then that final assessment that I made the squad, it was over the moon. I didn't really know how to like react. I was on the ferry trying not to like laugh out loud, or I'd have this like big smirk because I was sitting next to people I didn't know, and I was like, I had to go outside and just like take a breath of fresh air. But it was just awesome, just because just for a moment of like, that's it, this is a big moment just to like prove Indigenous players have capabilities and opportunities to show talent, because there's a lot that fall through the cracks that just don't get that opportunity. And sometimes all you just need is that one, or even that one person that believes in you. And I'm hoping this platform of Natsuma, and even me just being here, will show other Indigenous youth and other players that you can do it. You just dedication, hard work, and lots of just faith, and just reaching out to like putting yourself out there, and not being afraid of like the racial barriers or like people doubting you that you can't do it.
For sure. Nice dribbling. Almost. We have them wide. We've been hidden for a long time, overlooked. We don't really get noticed like this, and such an opportunity like this, I can't hold back, express how I play, show how I play. Like, playing with like First Nations, it's a different game. Like,
To date, Natsumat FC has signed 11 Indigenous players across the men's and women's teams, including 5 Indigenous assistant coaches. Their inaugural season begins April 29th at Swangard Stadium.
One, two.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Trettenaro.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Hello everyone, this is 1680 The Crow. I'm Sean Park and this is your 11 o'clock news update. The BC SPCA says they took 37 dogs and 5 cats into their care after finding them living in a home filled with feces, urine, and garbage. Elaine Revers is the Senior Officer of Protection and Stakeholder Relations for the BC SPCA. She says when the animal protection officers entered the home, the animals were living in such poor condition that they could even smell it before they even entered the building. All animals are currently under care of a veterinarian, and the SPCA says they do not know when the dogs and cats are available for adoption. There was an annual general meeting last night held at the BCIT Burnaby Campus. It has given a chance for council members and students to hear an update on the tuition rising costs coming up in the 2024-25 school year. Reporter Kobe Smith has the details.
There was an annual general meeting last night held at the BCIT Burnaby Campus. It was a chance for council members and students to hear an update on the tuition rising costs coming up in the 2024-25 school year. Students were able to ask questions to the executives and raise their concerns to get them answered. Also, students were able to suggest some scenarios to try fix their concerns. The student tuition will rise up to 2% for the domestic students in the upcoming 24-25 school year and a 6% rise for international students. Kobe Smith, 1680, The Crow.
People living without homes in the downtown east side may have some luck in the future. Reporter Philip Kovacevic has the details.
Vancouver City Councillor Rebecca Bly proposed a plan called Uplifting the Downtown East Side and Building Inclusive Communities that Work for All Residents, that wants to create more affordable housing in the downtown east side Oppenheimer development area. The motion also wishes to replace all single-room occupancy buildings in Vancouver. From the motion, it was found in January 2023 there are 146 open SRO buildings with 6,500 units. If the plan goes through, the findings by city staff will arrive late next year. Philip Kovacevic, 1680 The Crow.
The Ministry of Education and Childcare says the BC government will spend almost $3.4 billion to expand schools, upgrade and replace equipment to make the building safer during earthquakes, and buy lands for future schools. The David Lloyd George Elementary School is a school that benefited from the province upgrade project. It featured learning common space between classrooms for collaboration and group work. Since 2017, the province has announced earthquake-safe upgrades or replacement for a total of 63 schools with almost $1.6 billion in funding. The provincial government announced changes to housing rules recently that could impact housing projects in the province. This caught Coquitlam City Council by surprise, and they decided to take action on protecting current projects. Reporter Jerison Arashian summarizes what happened at the City Council meeting last night.
Mayor Richard Stewart and City Council unanimously agreed to send letters to Premier David Eby and Minister of Housing Ravi Kahlon in response to changes to the Homes for People Action Plan announced earlier in April. Through a series of amendments proposed in the BC legislature, changes include revised guidelines that municipalities have to implement to their housing policies, no public hearings on projects, and possible budget cuts. The city has multiple projects in the works that could be either delayed or cancelled, including the building of a community center in the Burke Mountain neighborhood. City Council hopes that the letters will lead to consultations with the provincial government on the changes. Jerison Rashun, 1680 The Crow.
The Municipal Affairs says the Northern Healthy Community Fund provided more than $3 million to support 12 projects. The project includes expanding their primary daycare centers, offering new counseling services, increasing senior care, and building new health and wellness centers for youth in northern BC. Anne Kang is the Minister of Municipal Affairs. She says the province is making sure that people in northern BC benefits from the rapid economic growth in their communities. Looking at the weather now, the fog advisory is still up and running, and the fog is likely to clear up near noon again, similar to yesterday. Today will be a high of 6 and a low of 1. That's it for the 11 o'clock news update. I'm Sean Park.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the lower mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.